The first is an obvious choice. If you like the latest Resident Evil version, chances are you will like some of the other games as well. However, there are 7 more on the main line, and almost all of them are very different games from Village. That's why Resident Evil 4 and 7 are mentioned. Resident Evil 4 is another game with crazy and high-level villains set in a gothic setting in Europe. Ramon Salazar and Osmond Saddler are funny villains. Bakers in Resident Evil 7 are similarly memorable, and the game mechanically is much closer to the Village. However, it's a bit scarier than Re 7, 4 or Village, so keep that in mind. The Evil Within is a game quite similar to Resident Evil 4 in many ways. It includes a variety of settings, many of which have a gothic feel. Unlike many recent horror games, the main character Sebastian Castellanos can defend himself as in Resident Evil. The Evil Within 2 is also highly loved by fans of the first, and could offer a fresh dive into a terrifying and immoral horror world. Outlast is a far cry from Resident Evil 8 in many ways. However, it has some memorable, and downright terrifying enemies, similar to Resident Evil Village. Dr. Trager, Groom, Walker, and Twins are unsettling killers with their quirks that set them apart from ordinary fear enemies. Remember, Outlast is a much simpler survival horror game. No reciprocation, there is only running and hiding. It is also one of the scariest horror games on the market, so be careful on your own. Call of Cthulhu is the story of the same name and tabletop role-playing game from H.P. Lovecraft. It is a relatively short game, and like Outlast, protagonist Edward Pierce has little opportunity to defend him against the horrors that follow. In terms of similarities with Resident Evil 8, the setting retains some of the Village's gothic feelings, and offers some memorable characters, most of whom died with horrible deaths. Call of Cthulhu. Dark Corners of the Earth is actually an old and unrelated title inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. It follows a similar story to the other Call of Cthulhu game, but this one offers more combat mechanics, and is more inspired by Shadows over Innsmouth. There are many bugs in this game that prevent it a bit. However, Dark Corners of the World still offers some gothic settings, and the ability to fight against monsters associated with Resident Evil. The vampires are what draws you to Resident Evil Village. Vampire has tackled that. The actor takes control of Jonathan Reed, a vampire and medical doctor, when the Spanish flu hits London in the early 20th century. This is an RPG as the player will decide what type of vampire Dr. Reed will be. Reed also encounters other vampire groups lurking in London, and builds on his vampire abilities throughout the game. Not exactly Lady Dimitrescu, but that's one thing. Vampire the Masquerade is another famous desktop RPG with a video game adaptation. Bloodlines is a bit older, but there is a sequel coming out in the near future. This is another RPG like Vampire, with the player taking on the role of a new vampire, who must find his place in the vampire society. Bloodlines takes place in Los Angeles, and the player must choose a vampire clan that determines what kind of powers they will receive. Different vampire clans clash and you decide who will end up on top. The long-lasting and beloved Castlevania franchise is the epitome of gothic horror. It contains all types of monsters and demons, including vampires and werewolves. The series focuses on the Belmont family and their eternal struggle with Dracula. An older game, but available on PS4 and Rondo of Blood. Symphony of the Night, a side-scrolling 2D action game, focuses on Richter Belmont and Alucard, who are trying to stop Dracula's resurrection. Castlevania is a gothic horror game and is a good choice for those who like these elements in Village. Amnesia. The Dark Descent is another horror game that focuses on a man named Daniel, this time forced to wander through a seemingly endless castle full of monsters. Daniel doesn't remember how he got here, he just knows he has to kill the castle's baron, Alexander. This is another game with a powerful Lovecraft twist, with a mental health meter and a plot surrounding unknown elusive cosmic forces of immense power. It's downright scary, and unlike the Resident Evil game, Daniel has no way to resist. However, Amnesia has powerful gothic vibes and tells a gripping story. Finally, there's Bloodborne, From Software's gothic Lovecraft action RPG mix. A difficult title that focuses on a surviving monster hunter who wanders against the night of the hunt, where terrifying beasts of all kinds roam the streets of the Harnum, a Victorian town built on a long and dark history. Werewolves are the main threat in the first part of the game, but these monsters quickly turn into tentacles, insect monsters, immortal abominations and cosmic gods writhing in the dark. Actually, there are even longer things in this game than Lady Dimitrescu, but maybe not that fascinating. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the page.